What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more U2, and we're returning to the Rattle and Hum album. Again, I apologize, my knowledge of exactly the nature of this album was not clear to me, and given that it seemed to have live material and even like spoken word or like interview bits and covers as well, I was not sure that this was considered a proper album, so I was saying compilation, but I will say album from now on. But the next track, called Heartland, I do not think is a U2 track I've reacted to from any of the other, let's say, normal studio albums. So in that regard, I wonder, is this an original tune? And indeed, there's been a couple where I wasn't sure about that, and it was indeed written by them, although in at least one case, the previous tune, a track written by them but sung by them and another vocalist, a pretty famous one at that. So yeah, in the moment, I'm wondering if this is a U2 original. I'm wondering if it is a cover, where it comes from. Either way, Heartland refers to maybe not even necessarily central, whether geographical or cultural or social, but the essence of a particular land. It's the heartland of this type of work, or this product, or this culture, or this environment. So a heartland would be seen as the essential or representative example of maybe a larger territory, whether again we're talking literally geographically or socially or nationally and so on, and perhaps with a suggestion of a folk or a simple nature, meaning you wouldn't necessarily refer to a high-rise filled city as a heartland, even if it was central to both the economy and within the larger geography of a nation or a larger region. So I do think somewhere in the term heartland, maybe in the connotations, not even the specific denotations, there's a suggestion of, on some level, like human simplicity, or like a basic level of whatever, again, the culture, the society, or the activity is. So either way, I'll try to catch what I can on a first listen. This is U2, the track is Heartland, and it's included on their 1988 Rattle and Hum album.
Sunrise over skin, don't change it. See the sunrise over skin, don't change it. And the building sun burns bright. Mississippi and the cottonwood heats, 66 highway speeds of deserts dry, of cool valleys, golden sunrise, shining cities. In this sunrise over skin, she feels like water in my hand, freeway like a river cuts through this land. into the side of love, like a golden sphere, and the poison rain brings a flood of fear through the ghost ranch years, the flowers in the towers of steel. Belief goes on and on in this heartland, in this heartland, in this heartland. Heaven knows this is the heartland.
Wow, so, okay, number one, I enjoy the relatively light sonics of the track. Not to say that they don't get rich and a bit more powerful during the chorus, because they certainly do, along with Bono's lead vocals. And I wonder about those backing vocals, because those go very high and expressive as well. But okay, so the guitar, not overly complex or intense, but it had a nice flow to it. It felt very evocative of some of the scenes that it seems like were being referenced. And then at the end, I wondered if some of those little touches were also guitar, or whether there was maybe some keyboard in there. But then there's this deep bass groove, again, not overly complex or, standing out beyond the other elements, but definitely providing this low and rich end to the sonic structure of the track, and sort of light cycling drums, again, nothing crazy, but giving us a rhythm and a percussive scheme. So again, everything in a very U2 way, but not as big as I've heard them go instrumentally or indeed vocally. But at the same time, I would say Bono's vocals in that chorus, they do get a bit scratchy, a bit there's yearning, or this really rich appreciation of what he's talking about. Now, I'm not sure if this really is about taking Route 66, but it sounded like he was talking about a highway, and then he made reference to 66, and of course, here in the States, that's a highway that goes through a lot of different states and different environmental areas. And I started to think that Heartland, given the bits that I heard, was less about the people that might be in these places, though perhaps that's part of it too. But he talked about a valley and the sun coming up, and I think there were some other references, including a city, which I made that comment in advance that you wouldn't normally think of a big city as a heartland. But I suppose if you're traveling around a larger area and seeing different geographical formations and environments and going through different cities, it could be part of a larger understanding of Heartland, even if it is, more advanced and industrial than, a golden meadow, or indeed a valley with a sun coming over the horizon and so on. And I thought maybe at the beginning there was a line about like the sun coming up like either over her or like over her skin or something. And of course that could be a personification of a particular land, though it could also be the way that like a woman you're on a journey with, the way the sun hits her as you're traveling through this place. But either way, it sounded like he was talking about a larger area, maybe the United States, if that highway reference I'm reading correctly. But yeah, it sounded like almost reverential, like it was this, understanding that this is, like country, this is God's country, as people say. And indeed, like saying, like heaven knows this, like as if, the idea that heaven knows it's maybe something that's beyond our ability to fully understand something, but heaven knows this is the essence of a heartland, or this is, a rich and beautiful tableau upon which humans exist. So it feels like there is some reverence and maybe even like, supernatural understanding of these natural environments that he's seeing and apparently passing through. But beyond that, I'm not quite sure what might be happening lyrically. But again, I enjoyed his vocals, especially in the chorus when they do get a bit more, not like strain, but it was like the beauty or the passion was almost, like beyond what a normal melody could deliver. So he was, going, like he was letting his voice burn a little hotter in those moments. And as I said, the backing vocals, even if those are someone else in the band, or maybe those are like Bono's vocals, layered over each other, but they went very high and rich and almost like, bright like a sun that makes you turn away even as it's, warm and radiant and lovely. So yeah, either way, a really interesting tune, and one that not only, I think, maybe works on multiple levels, more literal and more figurative, but perhaps speaks to the religious undertones, if not overt meanings, of a number of their tunes. So curious to hear what people have to say about this one. Once again, shout out to Adam for sharing this compilation and other YouTube material. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time. Peace.